Fellow Kenyans, things are getting out of hand and we need to speak out. If you're a true patriot, if you love this nation called Kenya, please join me for this battle of bringing peace and talking out and speaking out things the way they are. Join me on this discussion by clicking that button of video or by sending any question that you feel that we as Kenyans need to discuss. As you're doing that, I'm just going to take you through about things, some of the things that I feel it's not correct as per the situation now in Kenya. I'm going to tackle something about politics and security, maybe talk a little bit about IBC and Kenyans at large and the media. And mostly I will concentrate on politicians and politics with the security situation. If you watch what happened to the Nairobi University students last night, then if you are a true Kenyan and you love your country, you won't put any grievances amongst yourself, despite the tribe, despite the race, despite of any political party that you are supporting, because things are getting out of hand. Now join me and ask few questions, bring up your questions, and let us help these leaders to find a solution. Because sometimes it's the citizens who can give good advice also to their leaders. Sometimes leaders are concentrating much more on their own benefits, on how to become in power, and forgetting the citizens. So please do join as we discuss this thing. I will start with the politics and politicians. And before that, let me ask a question. What is a leadership? How do you understand the term leadership? Leadership, some people will say that leadership is a art of communicating visions. And some will say that it's all about the design of tactics and strategy on how to marshal of the resources to realize the objectives. And with me, I want just to put it very simple, that leadership is all about making a difficult decision that has got impact to the people who you serve or people serving you. And this is totally out of order in Kenya. Our leaders are not following things like this. Our leaders describe or define the leadership as working in an environment for their own benefits, their own glory, their own ego, and the struggle of power. And once you started to describe leadership like that, then you won't deliver no matter who you are. A good leader who can control his ego, who can control its self-benefit, and can control over solitude and get his love at home. The moment you're stepping out of the door, you come out with that mind that you are going to serve your people, then you will function with a clear mind and a solid heart, no matter what challenge that comes your way. And sometimes people will say that politics is a dirty game. I don't think politics is a dirty game. I think politicians are the ones abusing politics. They are making politics to looks like a dirty game. And if politicians, especially Kenyan politicians, cannot take the necessary and positive action towards their political game, then it's unfortunate. The country is going to a mess, a total mess in the near future. And I would like to advise our politicians, if anyone is watching, I would like to give you an advice that do not punish the whole country for your own political rivalry or some century family grievances, if I may call. And with this, mentioning the century or long-term grievances of the family in terms of political, I'm tempted to quote the two leaders, Uhuru Kenyatta and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I think there was something between Odinga's family and Kenyatta family that other Kenyan citizen doesn't know. And if there was, then they should solve this problem within their families and not allowing fellow Kenyans to suffer on their behalf. So, politics and politicians, they are the reason why racism and tribalism cannot and will not end soon in Kenya. Why? If what most of the politicians, the Kenyan politicians know is how to compete on who is more powerful or most powerful, on giving a humor, insult, abusive words that the media will use as the headline or will trend most in social, then where is our country heading? Where is our country heading? If that is the only thing that our leaders can do. Every day somebody is sleeping thinking of how to insult the another person, how to abuse another person. What is all about this? What are all this? How does this help the citizens? And to worsen the situation, sometimes they are doing this in the presence of school children, young generations, and forgetting that the whole world is watching what is going on in Kenya. Do our leaders want Kenya to be like Uganda? The leaders fighting inside in the parliament. So you find that racism and tribalism won't come to an end if a young generation will just grow up knowing that, oh, so and so is in the sect of Mungiki, so and so is Mganga, so and so is thief or mwizi, the way they are insulting each other every day. Personally, I'm tired with this, and it's not a good action at all. It's not. And it's really hurting. Our leaders have really forgotten what a leadership should do. So leaders of Kenya, please give us direction. And people talking of insult, people talking of respect, Respect is a paramount. Respect is a two-way traffic. And according to me, I always believe that a child will just follow the example of his parents or elders. And the Kenya parent is our leaders. If our leaders have started to abuse each other, what do you expect from the young generation to do on social media, even if they're afraid of attacking you directly? If you yourself, you don't have that respect, you don't have the respect of your age mates, you don't have the respect for the people of Kenya, you don't have the respect of your work, then what do you expect from us? Every day you wake up with different story, different rhythm, different insults. It's very painful. It's painful. And moving on to the security. The great strategy is better than good combat. And I repeat, a great strategy is better than a good combat. And innovations will always yield greatest strategy. And great strategy will always win. So the security, the Kenyan police, sometimes is good if you love the work you are doing. Sometimes it's good to go extra mile of what the trainings that you get when you are being trained. Sometimes it's good to do further research on how to maintain your work, and not affect other people you are serving. The situation as the security concern in Kenya is totally out of hand. How can a police who is a parent, who is a citizen of Kenya, trespass? I call it trespass. You trespass, you walk into a university, which is another institution with its own regulations and rules, and start pulling students out of their hostels and caning them, not caning them, but brutally beating them up under whose command? Are you thinking on your sense? Sometimes you need to stand with your personalities, even if your commander is giving you some directions that are not favorable to the people you are serving. You have to question. Security, police thing is not the only work you can do to gain your living. And if you are threatened to leave the job because you stand of your rights, you also have your rights. You can take some legal action towards your boss. Huh? And the commander who spends weeks in the office managing from his desk where he's sitting will make a decision based on his historical experience, not of what is happening in the ground, because they don't know. Some of them are just having big bellies, doing nothing in the office, and yet if the report is brought to them, they don't take any action. What they are saying is just, those are allegations, and you are not in the field. Why you assign that duty to stay in the office, or to ensure that the security is people are getting security? in the country. Here is where the decision about what to do become a matter of course. When you spend time where the action is taking place, where this brutality and attack of the nation, of the Kenyan citizens is taking place, I'm sure if you come back into your office as a parent and as a leader, you will be able to come up with other strategy that can make the security tight and can make the security favorable to each and every citizen in the country. Not that you are going to an extent threatening to arrest some leaders also. How can you arrest a leader, or how can you take that action if managing the peaceful demonstration, peaceful citizen demonstrating for their own rights, you cannot? How can you talk of doing away with Al-Shabaab if managing your own problems, the problems within the country, you cannot manage? And you start threatening people. Sometimes I really fail to understand what our security and generals are thinking about this security matter. And to win, those who win a fight without a fight are often so well prepared. And the security needs to know that and avoid battle by intimidating their opponents. Invite your opponents for discussion. In every riots that I've watched or I've encountered, I've seen, the moment the person in riots lift up his hand, meaning that the opponent has surrendered. And here is a different case where the person has surrendered, and then to an extent you find that the police is still beating up this person, or you say you unleash the tear gas for them to go to run. Then you find that you are still chasing them. Even if it were you, if somebody is chasing you and he wants to beat you up, and you can find anything that can make this person go back, leave you, you will do the same. So sometimes we blame the riots, and sometimes we forget to blame the police. If somebody is hitting you, then you find a stone, you can also hit him back, of which should not be the case. The case here should be people dialogue. If it is a peaceful rioting, then you obey the peaceful rioting, you obey the rights of the people. Not that you are going to an extent of beating up, people shedding blood. So later on, if you're police, you go back to your house and start watching these things on YouTube. How do you feel? Do you feel like, oh, leo tumewachapa, tuliwanyorosha kweli kweli? You nyorosha who? You watch the footage, then you said, oh, my wife, come and see the way I was beating someone's daughter, someone's child. Shame on you. Is that the kind of training that you are given while you are being trained? By going and beating someone's child until to the extent that he bleeds, then you thumb up that. I could hear even some people are saying that utanyoroshwa, utachapwa, toka hapa. Sometimes I wonder, are these police, the trained police, or are these some thugs that are brought to kill Kenyans? And the head of state is just quiet, doing nothing. The leaders are just quiet, some of them trying to put everything on the opposition. What they focus on is what are the opposition saying today? Let us attack them. What are the opposition saying today? Let us attack them. Instead of concentrating on how to make the country move forward. Sometimes it's very shameful. Even if you are outside country, you are inviting your friends to come and visit you in your own country. When they watch the situation in the country, they can't even make an attempt to book the ticket to come to the country. And yet, outside, when you are outside the country, we are celebrating now. Kenya is a peaceful country. Come to Kenya and visit Kenya. How can somebody come to a country without security, where tribal is more like anything? And these tourists are the ones who will bring the development also in Kenya. So once we started keeping them off because of the violence, inside violence, because of political things, because of leader greed, sometimes I really don't understand what our leaders. I really don't understand. Is it because their children are not involved directly on these things? I fail to understand. And then I know later some people will, some of the fellow. Now let me talk to the fellow citizens. I know some of you will start to bring politics in this. Your politics is welcomed. As per now, you can politicize everything that you like. But the time is coming. The time is coming when you will realize that I should have took this action by myself to share my views, to share my hunger towards what is happening in the country, without looking the tribal or political divide. You know, sometimes you just sit down and wonder. People say that you can learn, you can have diplomas, you can have all the certificates or the degrees, but if you don't have a leadership skill in yourself, then it's like a lose. If you don't have leadership skills, you don't have generosity, you don't have humor, you don't care about another person, the only thing you think about is your own benefit, then you don't deserve to be a leader. I don't care I don't care any political divide, but I'm just giving advice to the fellow Kenyans also. Fellow Kenyans, let us consider what to politicize and what not to politicize. If your leader is wrong, accept, say that this place here you did something wrong. If your leader is wrong, accept that he's wrong. And if we start covering things because he's modo wa nyumba, manga atwa, huyu ni wetu, then the country is going to a mess. If it is wrong, let us say it is wrong. Then to my fellow media, the media and the media group, sometimes for the benefit of our nation, we don't need to incite so much on everything that these leaders are saying. If someone mention or insult someone or used abusive word today, then don't allow this as to be the topic of the year, that every day you're talking about so and so abusing so and so. You are refreshing the wound that maybe has healed before. So media also have to be careful. And the media group needs to stand also with the fellow Kenyans and say no to the coverage of any insult, to the coverage of any abusive words produced by any leader, any politicians. The media should say no. They should tell these politicians that they won't cover any insult or any unnecessary behavior that the media, the politicians are doing. Then the nation will just be at a fine place. So Kenyans, let us live as brothers and sisters. Today you kill a Luo guy, tomorrow you are running for the same Luo family or another Luo guy for help. Today you kill your neighbor at the apartment, then tomorrow your neighbor is not there. Who will you run to? Will you run to Uhuru Kenyatta? Will you run to Raila Odinga? Will you run to Kalonzo Musyoka? Will you run to Aden Duale? Will you run to Ruto? Will you run to any leader to help you? Will you be able to reach them when you are in need? Live with your brother, live with your friend, your neighbor as a brother. We can politicize. Sometimes people are misusing democracy in Kenya. No matter how you want to politicize everything, please, people are using some images to describe some leaders, which is I don't see. It's quite annoying sometimes. It's quite annoying. And the leaders, back to the leaders again, you need to seek each other's advice. You need to seek each other's advice in order for this country to develop. And finally, let me talk to the IBC. The IBC needs to make a very important decision also, because the hands of Kenyans is now onto your office. Kenyans belongs to you. As per now, you carry Kenya, because any mistake you make in this coming election, then I promise you, even that office I don't know. So just make some reforms the way the politicians are demanding also, and then ensure that the country, the people receive a free and fair election. Free and fair election. And finally, we Kenyans, let us think about what we are politicizing. Sometimes one leader may be too much on bringing demands, but you have to think twice. Why is this leader bringing all of these demands? Are these demands will be of benefit to me if they are implemented without considering where I'm coming from or which tribe I'm coming from? Are these demands, sometimes you will see the demands is making now as not useful for you as per now, but in future, these demands will reflect their own benefit to you. Because I've seen a lot of I've read on the comments, people are politicizing everything, including some of the demands that may help in the near future. So let us select what to criticize on, and let us learn how to express our democracy. Let us learn how to express our democracy. So fellow Kenyans and the security of Kenya, your actions towards the Nairobi University students is not good at all. It's not good at all. And I'm looking forward for this CS to comment on this. And the president himself should come out and say something about this and ask under what authority, under whose authority did these policemen went ahead to brutalize the students in the university? Under whose authority? So I'm looking forward, Mr. Matiang'i and Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, please do something. Do something. Do something. A lot has been happening in Kenya in concern of security, and you're just quiet, as if you are living on a space. Please do something. University students, that is one. People being killed and thrown in Lake Victoria is another one. Some of the officials being killed is another one. And you're just quiet. And yet you are going around, because sincerely speaking, you are the president now, and you are going around telling people how you love your country. You have the authority. You have the authority to give commands for the police to stop this brutality. Is really reflecting that the security heads and the state has taken a side. You are one-sided. So please, fellow Kenyans, let us live as brothers and sisters.